Hello and welcome to the Hollywood, Florida edition of The Exchange, brought to you by the New York Stock Exchange. As a reminder, today's interview is for informational purposes only. The NYC does not recommend investments or investment strategies. Now, I'm joined today by Darek Wojnar. He is the Executive Vice President at Northern Trust Asset Management. Darek, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Doug. It's a pleasure to see you here in Florida.
So, longtime industry veteran, a lot of contacts. We're surrounded by advisors. What are some of the conversations that you're having out there right now?
It's definitely an interesting time for advisors, and certainly most of them who are younger have not experienced markets like that. They have not really had the professional experience of interest rates going up so fast, facing inflationary pressure from right and left, not really knowing how their clients will behave in the environment where Fed's actions are watched but not really fully understood. So I think that there is a lot to be said about one thing, that there is not a lot of certainty about what's going to happen next. With geopolitical risks, I think advisors are really worried about making sure that their clients stay invested and do the right thing for their future portfolios.
Yeah, it's always so hard, right, to keep that long-term hat on. Mm-hmm. For the team at Northern Trust, when you look at the market like this, right,
yep,
you've got the experience. Do you see opportunities? Do you see places, pockets that you're interested in right now?
Well, we first and foremost see the need to take a longer-term view. We advise our clients always to take a longer-term view and think about strategic needs of their portfolios. Clearly, where the assets will go over the course of mid-term or short-term is very difficult to do. On the other hand, I think having the longer-term understanding of the outlook on markets is essential. So we typically run, every year during the summer, we run our capital markets assumptions to really understand the outlook for the next 5 years. And that creates a base for our general allocation models. And I think that within that context, equities have probably somewhat reduced opportunity to derive returns or drive returns. But that said, we do see that a lot of returns come from dividends, and many clients are interested in dividend payers, whether that be domestic equities or international. We see that a lot of clients are interested in maintaining exposure to equities, but are worried about highly volatile equities, so seek lower volatility companies or ETFs, which we have a good suite, QLV suite, quality low volatility. So we definitely see interest. And I would say this past several years, but last year in particular, made clients really understand that the role of certain assets like upstream natural resources that may be viewed as somewhat differently correlated with markets and providing more resiliency during the inflationary pressures, similarly as tips on the fixed income side, plays a role. And we see interest coming to both our Gunner ETF, which is providing that exposure, as well as our TIPS ETFs.
And if I'm not mistaken, some of the FlexShares lineup have been award winners all over the years here. When you look at the entire lineup, yep, and you look at the suite, are there any ETFs in that suite you look at right now and say, hey, these are the kind of the special ones that I'm really watching?
Look, I've said it before that it's hard to name your favorite children. You know that. But that said, I think that in our lineup, I think that equities that are focusing on quality and low volatility, that's some of the favorite staples to build equity exposure. On the fixed income side, particularly in context of the recent increases in rates, ultra short duration is very attractive. We have a ETF with a ticker RAVI that addresses that space pretty well. And for investors or advisors who think about high yield, not as the riskiest fixed income sector, but rather as a way to maintain exposure to equities, generating income and lowering perhaps some of the volatility that is associated with equities, we have a wonderful exposure to high yield. The ticker is HYGV, and we see a lot of interest and demand from advisors in that space.
And again, remember, if you want to learn more about any of the symbols that we were talking about today, or maybe you forgot them, but you're thinking, I need to go learn about them, go to etfcentral.com. In the search bar, just type in FlexShares or Northern Trust. You will find the entire lineup of US listed ETFs right there, all the data provided for free, plus a lot of other educational materials so you can increase your knowledge and learn a lot about what Northern Trust Asset Management is up to these days. And it's all brought to you by none other than the New York Stock Exchange, the home of ETFs.